Well, this story, as it continues to break in Washington, the emotion is running high. Emotions running high in Uvalde, Texas. Let's cross to correspondent Eric Pape. Eric, let's begin with the investigation. What's the latest?
The latest on the investigation, the investigation's happening on a multitude of levels. The school is a full investigation site day and night at this point. But an interesting part of the investigation is of the response to the attack. There's a lot of questions that are trying to nail down how things went exactly. But there's a 20 or so minute discrepancy in how long after the attack began that authorities arrived at the school. They're trying to nail that down because it has some broad implications. There are some family members of victims and of survivors who have been saying that they were there urging authorities to go in and that they didn't for a time. There's a lot of conflicting reports about that. We'll see how that washes out as the investigation advances, but that is one of the focuses now.
One of the focuses now, and as we saw in that report, a community in shock.
Yeah, so I'm in front of the town hall. They have put up crosses, 21 crosses for the 19 children and the 2 teachers who were victims of this attack. Last night there was a vigil that was attended by a few thousand people. It was a brief vigil. I'm sorry, with 5 different pastors who spoke, and there were prayer circles. It was a very moving, intense setting. I saw large, strong young men with lots of tattoos, people who in the United States people would assume are tough, strong men, and they were just sobbing like babies for family members. They were hugging each other. It was a very, very powerful moment as people were trying to find some way to process this. And for a lot of people here in this small town, a lot of that has to do with religion. So the pastors were doing and saying what they could, but in fact, all eyes essentially turned to the political space because that's where change may come, if it's going to come from somewhere.
Of course, here in France, the question everyone's asking, Eric, is how come it's legal in Texas for an 18-year-old to buy automatic rifles, weapons of war? Of course, you're in gun-loving Texas.
Yeah, it's true. This kid, barely 18, wouldn't be allowed to buy a beer in a local bar, but he can go and buy military-grade rifles with no strong restrictions. He got them within days of each other. He was bragging about them, apparently, according to the latest reports, in private messages on Facebook to an acquaintance who didn't see the messages until after, apparently. But yeah, it raises a lot of questions. Here in Texas, the governor, who is very pro-gun and is going to be is scheduled to host an NRA, National Rifle Association event this weekend, has in the past pushed for measures, but not gun control measures to what they call hardened schools, to make schools more almost insulated in a military sense, have a unique entrance, have armed responses, but I think people are pretty skeptical of the idea of militarizing all schools all of the time. It's just not doable. But that is a big part of the sort of response that he's looking for. Even in the past, he has actually pushed for some tiny measures of gun limitations, and it went nowhere. And then he backed off and said it wasn't the time. That was several years ago. We'll see if now is the time.
And just locals, what are they saying on that score? What are they telling you, Eric?
This is Texas, so you have a wide range of people. You have people who believe that you protect yourself with your gun, and since schools don't have guns among the teachers, you literally have people saying that teachers should be armed. You have a lot of people, however, who are disgusted by this, who can't believe that there is no limitation, no control, and who don't know what the answer is, but they do know that an 18-year-old shouldn't be able to get military-grade rifles, go into a school and shoot children. That is 100% clear for everybody. The question is, how do you prevent that from happening? And that's where it falls to the decades-old gun debate.
Eric Pape reporting live outside the town hall there in Uvalde, Texas. Many thanks for that update.